Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk. It's Jerry Miller, Keith Smith, moments away. This show celebrating, championing, and spotlighting real estate across Charlottesville and Central Virginia, the Commonwealth in totality, with an insider that knows it back and forth, top to bottom. Keith and Yonna Smith of the Yes Team Realtors, power agents undoubtedly in the community, tied to Roy Wheeler. Harris Tolber and Judah Wickhauer making the show possible behind the scenes. Gentlemen, let's go studio cam. Let's welcome the star of the show, Keith Smith, to the program. Keith, que pasa? How are you doing? Show premiere, my friend.
Show premiere. Well, I have a lot of pressure here. Thank you so much for having me here. And, as you know, we've done these a couple of times. My better 7/8 couldn't join us today. So to be frank with you, I was told don't screw it up. So we're excited about this opportunity to talk about real estate. Real estate reaches so many different lives and different portions of it. It's just not the simple fact of buying a house or selling a house. I like to refer to it as a healthy housing system. And so I'm looking forward to the conversation with you today.
Fantastic, guys. Real talk. We're about to get the who, what, when, where, why. The fellas are getting photo content behind the scenes in episode 2, which the show airs Fridays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network. Episode 2, you will see its own intro here on the program. Give us the who, what, when, where, why of Real Talk, what the audience can expect with this program.
So what I kind of will jumble those all together in a response on instead of taking each one at a time. But the overall vision for this is to share with the public, the folks listening, everything that's related to real estate. We'll talk about the home buying process, and we've created some really neat infographics about that process, and I think at some point we might pop them up on the screen. We'll talk a little bit about the selling process and then market. So, what the vision here is that we'll talk for the first 15 minutes about stuff like that, and then the rest of the show we're going to bring in some guests, other real estate agents, somebody like Neil, if he'll agree to come, that he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
Potential elected officials, lenders, attorneys, everything that's related to it. So one of the things that I found in the 30 years we've been doing this is, sometimes the process is so overwhelming that you just need, maybe, hopefully I can do this with my Yankee accent, is to explain the process in a little bit easier to follow thing. But anyway, I'm just uber excited about it. A lot of exciting things are happening here in the city and the other jurisdictions about housing. And as you know, I sit on a bunch of different nonprofit boards and commissions. And so I'm looking forward to talk all about that, bring in folks and experts, and hopefully we'll get a following and back and forth on questions. And I'm just ready to rock and roll.
I love it. So that's the first sizzle reel. Start with my question all the way through his answer. Guys, if you can imagine what car talk was on the radio, this is what Real Talk is going to be with real estate in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, except you're going to have the video component. And I want to highlight what the Yes Team Realtors is doing. I want to highlight who he's called his better 7/8.
7/8.
And that's Yonna Smith. Beautiful, full of intelligence, full of negotiation savvy, able to read a balance sheet, able to read a P&L, put a deal to bed, and then go to the opera and have some Marie Bet in her spare time as well. Yonna Smith in perspective.
And to read them in 5 languages.
That's amazing.
And translate.
That's a Renaissance woman. That's his wife. He's a lucky man.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Put the team, your wife, put the Yes Team in perspective.
Yeah, so it's a great question because we're so natural at it, we don't really think about it. So we've been married since 1986. We've been doing real estate together since 1987. We work every day together. Our day started this morning. Actually, I started a little bit earlier than 5:30, but our day starts at 5:30, and we take the dog for a walk, and we plan out our day. And but we just roll naturally. I think if somebody would take a look at the other shows that we've done for you, it's just we just play off of each other very well. But she truly is my better 7/8. I thank the Lord every morning that I get to wake up next to her.
I love it. So the Yes Team guys, we got to highlight Roy Wheeler, Michael Guthrie watching right, Neil.
Cool.
The Yes Team Realtors, absolutely fantastic. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales. This team can represent buyers or sellers, part of the Roy Wheeler family. Roy Wheeler, one of the fantastic sponsors of this program. Put that in perspective.
Yeah, so first of all, welcome back to work, Michael. Love you. To put it a little bit in perspective, so I think we talked about it in our last show, and those can go back to it, but I'm also a recovering developer and builder. We built hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses. Frankly, we talked in our last show, and in the downturn, we lost $17 million, lost everything that we had cash-wise. Didn't lose what was important, was the love of a beautiful woman. But I will tell you, so we went to Michael right after that. We joined Roy Wheeler after that, and I met Michael in, he was teaching a class. And, you know, his ability to connect with people, his ability to show he cares, that he's professional, it just sold us. We immediately moved over, and I can honestly tell you that we would not have been in this recovery mode that we're in, and frankly, we're doing as well as we've ever done before. It would not have been without him. We could not have gotten here. He allows us to do what we want to do. He mentors and coaches us, so and he allows us to mentor and coach some of his, quite a few of his agents. My wife is actually the mentoring and coaching folk for the company, Roy Wheeler. So.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to get
So thanks, Michael.
Michael says thank you. He says, great to see you bringing your expertise to the media venue. Guys, if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything
what, no
you
good
want to
looks,
relay,
Michael, comment?
anything you want to relay to Keith Smith, put it in whatever Facebook feed you're watching. Put it in the comments box. Give the show a like and a share. Give the show a like and a share. Thank you kindly for watching us here on Real Talk on the I Love CVille Network. Ann Gardner says hello. Scott Morris says hello. Chris Turner and Crozet says hello. Alex Discornia says hello. Rick Henderson in Richmond says hello. A flock of people watching in Fluvanna County right now. Bellamy Brown, Rick White, Lauren Elaine Thompson, Lauren Linsky, Neil Williamson continues to watch. If you have questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to put on the radar, pass it to Keith Smith and I. So CAAR released its first quarter report. Gentlemen, we're going to go to the infographics from CAAR and its first quarter report. Judah and Harris run point on that. I'll set the stage. You're the expert. I'm trying to learn from you. The average price for a home in Central Virginia continues to go up. That's good for all of us in Central Virginia. Greene County is freaking booming, okay? The report shows that homes are taking a tad longer to sell. So a little bit more sticky on the market, transactions not going as quickly. Sales are down by 6% compared to the first 3 months of last year. Some folks say that is tied potentially to weather. Some of the weather that we've had in Q1. I'm going to get out of the way here. CAAR first quarter report. The show is yours.
So we'll kind of pick that apart a little bit. So as far as sales are down, I would agree with the weather. It's been an unusual season, frankly. I've been here since '87. I think
it's so much rain.
It's been the most rain that I've ever seen here. So, you know, one of the things I would want to highlight on that is that we're at an 85-day average days on market. So, not to be overly technical on that, but depending on who you speak to, a neutral market is around 90 days on market, right? So if it's, you know, below 90 days, it leans one way, I apologize, it would be more for the seller side. If it goes over 90 days, it's more on the buyer side. So we're kind of at this neutral sweet point, I think, in my humble opinion. So it kind of makes the market a little difficult to judge which way it's going to go. Sure. I will tell you, when it's like this, you really need an expert, and you really need to know somebody who can navigate the system on it. So as far as the median sales price going up, it's really not a huge number. It's 1%, but it's up enough. I will throw a little bit into that and pivot over to some of the other hats I wear, and you may or may not be aware of this, and maybe folks who are watching isn't aware of it, but HUD came out with its new AMI numbers.
Area median income.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On the 24th of this month.
Okay, I'm curious of this number.
So it was roughly 90,000. It's only $500 or $600 below that at the moment. But the interesting thing is, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me because I didn't prepare for this statement. This is coming off of the top of my head here. But the income requirements have increased. So the AMIs dropped a little bit, but the incomes requirements have gone up several thousand. So to put that in a little perspective, so if you are looking for one of these federal affordable housing programs where 80% are AMI, a 4-person household, I believe, went up roughly $3,000. I'm sure Neil can chime in and give me the exact dollar amount, but it's approximately around there. So our AMI went down slightly, but the income limits went up a little bit.
I love it. That's a sizzle reel. Start with my question about CAAR in the first quarter report, all the way through that answer right there. Judah and Harrison Lauren. Andre Xavier, CVille Hop-On Tours, thank you kindly for watching the show. Give it a like, give it a share. Joshua Daniel, Jacqueline Dunkel, Meg Taylor, Grace Australia, thank you kindly for watching the program. Give it a like, give it a share. Greene County, I mean, in Fuego, certainly highlighted, Ann Gardner and the team highlighted, she's watching right now, highlighted that this municipality is booming. Every time I drive north into Albemarle County, if I'm heading to D.C. for business, you were just in D.C. for business earlier this week. I got to ask you about that. We drive that way. Greene County is completely different. New construction everywhere, Keith Smith.
Yeah, so, the reality of it is, their price point's roughly around $270,000, as per the CAAR report. And, if you take a look at what's in Charlottesville, it's at $350. That's a huge spread.
It's a huge spread.
And, the buyers are going right, wrong, or indifferent to where they can buy. And at the moment, Greene County has the product, the homes to buy, clients are going out
and
there.
And the closeness to Charlottesville city limits.
It is a simple. I would not want to forget Fluvanna County. That's where I live. Fluvanna's dropped a little bit to 209. We do a lot of real estate in Fluvanna County, probably about 50% of our business, maybe a little less than that. It is an awesome opportunity to get there. You can pick up something, a home, a 3-bedroom home, 2 baths, garage, in the low 2s, which is unheard of in Charlottesville, at least.
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I see, this is the layman, you're the expert. What I'm going to love about this show is I'm passionate about real estate, and I get to learn from you.
Yeah.
I see Fluvanna and Greene and they're already exploding, but epicenters of major, major growth. Throw in maybe Louisa with that Zion's Crossroads area. Those 3 quarters getting ready to boom. Maybe it spills over there to that Barbersville, northern Albemarle, Orange County corridor, because what it seems like to me, Charlottesville city limits is pricing folks out of the market. That's since trickled over to Albemarle County, where the cost of homes in Albemarle County is also astronomical. You also have phenomenal schools in Albemarle County, so parents are itching to move to Albemarle County, especially the western side of Albemarle County, leaving Greene, Louisa, Fluvanna on the next layer from Charlottesville, the next layer of the onion as hotspots.
So you've called it. One of the several things I do is I sit on the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commissions. I'm the commissioner for Fluvanna County. I would encourage anybody who, we had a meeting last night, they're public. There's a portion of the meeting at the end that we instituted a roundtable discussion. So there's 2 elected officials from each of the 6 jurisdictions, and we go around. And the reason I talk a little bit about this was information I learned last night. So Louisa has multiple, for Zion's Crossroads, I was speaking to 2 of the Board of Supervisors last night.
Is that Fitzgerald Barnes?
It is not.
Okay.
So I don't, it was not Fitz, no.
Okay.
So, but in any event, so they are running through the site plan process approximately 1,200 lot subdivision in Zion's Crossroads. And it's under the radar. Nobody's talking about it. It came out last night in the discussion.
That's news right there.
Yeah. So to be frank, I haven't had a chance to pull the site plans and
this is good.
Get on all that stuff. But so it's in the planning commission phase. And it's going to, based on the conversations I had with the Board of Supervisors, and I prefer not to name them.
Sure.
it's going to be a mixed-use project. Apparently, it's multiple developers doing one large project. So I'm going to dig in a little bit into that. And again, if Neil is still watching.
He is still watching. He just put the fiscal year 2019 income limits documentation system. It's a link from HUD. And I'm literally reading this on the fly. Income limits documentation system. Basically, he's talking about area median family income, and he's giving us information, and it's on my page. We'll share this to the Yes Team Realtors page. Neil, thank you on this. That was news right there. So we're going to start with my question that I just threw to Keith and his commentary about his insider information and his conversation.
I do not like that word.
Okay, I'm going to say this. How about his intelligence?
Well, I definitely don't like that word.
How about your conversation with people?
Let's just say I share information.
You share information.
Okay.
Talk to us about that, because this is resonating with people. Because that's breaking news.
So intelligence and insider, I don't.
Conversation.
There you go.
Okay.
But I want to quantify my comment.
Yeah.
It was a conversation last night. I have not had a chance to go on Louisa County's website and pull the site plans and find out where the process is. It was discussed in a roundtable discussion, which again is a public forum. And it's recorded and people can listen to it. So as far as Fluvanna County goes, so everybody knows water and sewers coming up to Zion's Crossroads. They've had a couple of really good public meetings about that. I would also, as my brain is moving around a little bit, we probably might bring Brian Rothermill on one of our shows.
I love him.
Yeah.
He used to run the Fluco blog.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So Fluvanna hired him as his economic development director. Used to work for Neil as a writer. Dynamic personality, be a great guy to sit down and talk about what's happening in Fluvanna County. But and I'll kind of share a comment I had with the Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors last night in the Louisa County.
Please.
So tonight on the Louisa County Board of Supervisors' agenda.
This show's going to crush it, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm serious. With this kind of content?
Well, yeah. I'm just sharing, brother.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. So I had a conversation, apparently, and again, so these are just conversation ended at 10 o'clock last night, so I hadn't had a chance to fact check a lot of this stuff. But apparently on the Louisa County Board of Supervisors, there's going to be a discussion about housing, which is unusual. So as you may know, I also sit on the Regional Housing Partnership. I'm the chairperson of that. We just came off of our summit on the 14th.
Right.
Excuse me, on the 19th, I apologize. And it was interesting because we had elected officials from every one of the jurisdictions. Albemarle County had its full Board of Supervisors there.
That's awesome. How many city councilors were there? Charlottesville.
Heather was there.
Heather, okay.
Heather was there, yeah. So, but in any event, to put a bit of a verbal success to that, Fluvanna County donated a substantial amount of money to fund this Regional Housing Partnership Summit. No other jurisdiction did that. It had multiple, I think 3 Board of Supervisors there. Louisa had 3 Board of Supervisors there. Fluvanna County is contributing to this Regional Housing Partnership. They're getting housing is an important part of the equation of economic development, at least in my opinion, they are doing that. But when somebody starts putting money into something, or Louisa County puts on an agenda on housing, this topic is bringing up to the top. And, toot my horn a little bit, I've been pushing this
for years.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So, not that I'm a toot my own horn kind of guy, but, we're making it happen.
I love it. Get some photo content right here. We're getting photo content for the intro. We're going to introduce and see in episode 2, Jim Carpenter watching. What's up, Jim Carpenter?
Hey, great job on taking the pictures at the
Dogwood Vietnam Memorial.
Yeah.
We had him on the show yesterday.
Really?
He had both me and him sobbing on set. I want to, this is something, you're a military serviceman, proudly served the country, a Marine.
Yeah, I feel a little naked. I didn't put my Marine Corps emblem on today. I was rushing out the door. And
I got to ask you your take on this. The Dogwood Vietnam Memorial, honors 28 servicemen who have died in combat. And it is unapproachable, inconvenient, inaccessible. They have to park, the families and their brethren have to park at the rescue squad and then walk across to the Dogwood Memorial. And Jim is fighting for convenience and access for the 28 folks that are fallen, their families and their brethren. What are your thoughts on this topic? As someone who served the country.
So I have a bit of an intimate relationship with that memorial. My dearest friend in the world, fellow Marine, just passed away recently. A guy by the name of Bill Hughes, a Vietnam vet. Built a house for him, built a house for his family. Actually was my campaign manager when I ran for office. But he was instrumental in actually getting the original. The memorial's always has been there for a while, but it was instrumental in the previous. He's passed away now 2 years ago. The renovation of it. I can't speak to the specifics of it, but it's my understanding. Are they not making a wheelchair accessible from the skate park?
They're trying.
Okay.
And Carpenter and company wants more.
Okay.
Right now, asking for Rod Gantz likes the show. Terry and Ray Condell watching the show, asking for potentially a parking lot.
So I'm not so drilled down on the specific topic.
But in general terms on the memorial.
It should be accessible. There's a thing called ADA. I mean,
right.
It should, if you and I were building a house or commercial anything, we would have to provide wheelchair accessibility. So I don't really know who's in charge. Is that a city project?
That's a city project.
Yeah, I think some of this information getting out, it'll go in the right direction. I'm a Marine, man, so any opportunity to honor those folks.
I think that should be an extra sizzle reel on us. That's because that hits close to home.
Yeah. So So as one who has lost a bit of friends in combat, or hostile fire, let's call it, I appreciate that. I did the Cold War thing, so what I did never made the media and the news, and we have one memorial from the Beirut bombing in '83. So, but anyway, so
let's give
a little uncomfortable talking about.
I understand.
This.
I understand. Hey, my question through that answer, Judah, for a sizzle reel on the Dogwood Memorial. Scott Morris, thank you for watching.
By the way, a fellow Marine.
Scott Morris.
Yeah, sure.
Scott Morris. I did not know that about you. You're good people. I'm a big fan of Scott Morris. Mark McEldowney is watching right now. Like and share the stream. Like and share the stream. Give it a like. Give it a share.
Well, I'm honored this many people are watching.
This is
amazing.
going to stick. It's obvious. This is going to stick. This is momentum.
And we're doing this good without
Yonna.
We're two beasts. With
the brains of the operation is missing. Yonna, where you at? Where you at, Yonna? We miss you, Yonna. We tried calling you, Yonna.
Somebody's got to make money.
We tried calling you, Yonna. You closed a deal.
Well, we wrote a deal this morning. Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that a little bit?
Technically, really not.
Okay.
But we was.
You came in like big chested.
A little bit.
Yeah, you're feeling good.
Yeah. So it's nice to put a deal together as you're driving into town, and one of the beautiful things about this is
you can work anywhere.
You can work anywhere.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Talk about quartering the Fluvanna County market. You said over half the transactions.
Yeah,
in Fluvanna?
Maybe a little less than that, but
okay.
We haven't tracked our numbers yet for the first quarter.
That's a good spot for you, man.
Well, I lived there. So,
yeah,
and built quite a few hundred houses there in my career, so we know it well. So. We like it. Yeah, so, it's, this conversation of affordable housing and the market is there and, there's this term, drive till you qualify. And, I get the term, but, you have to figure in your transportation costs on top of your housing costs because you're going to have to have a car. You can't just hop on a bus to get there. So, one of the things we're going to tackle with the Regional Housing Partnership, actually, we've got a meeting an executive meeting on the 7th at 3 p.m., which is open to the public and anybody can come and just...
You encourage them.
Oh, we want people there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, it should be more attended.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But, people have lives, people are not as lucky as I am that has somebody who, can... as a partner who takes care of things and allows me to go do what I do. And But they are going to be recorded orderly from an audio perspective.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Dennis Brown, thank you for watching right now. Bob Shada, thank you for watching. Give the show a like, give it a share, give it a like, give it a share. Wow, we have Steve Henderson watching in Richmond, Virginia right now.
Hey,
if you're
Richmond.
interested in moving to Charlottesville or Central Virginia, the Yes Team Realtors, Heather Lamont Walker, thank you kindly for watching. Ron Gantz, I see you liking the show. If we could talk about the dynamic of Charlottesville City, because Charlottesville City gets a lot of the attention. Its market, its trends, its home sales, its transactions, where you see the rest of 2019 playing out in the city of Charlottesville.
So if you look at the report, median sale prices went up about $30,000 plus or minus year over year or quarter over quarter. It's a struggle to find a home at that price point. We talked about this in the last show. I mean, it requires skill sets to get there. We discussed in our last show. We just recently did a contract with a doctor who's moving into the area, and we beat out a cash contract by simply writing a letter. And
you should tell that story again.
Yeah. So
this is the expertise.
Yeah. Thank you. What we do is we take the time to truly understand. Not that other real estate agents don't do that. I just want to be clear about that. But how we operate, we take the time to understand what the buyer or the seller needs. So in this case, the buyer, we understood his need, and he was a doctor. He had to be a certain amount of proximity to the university, so forth and so on. And we lost actually 10 transactions. We didn't win 10 transactions up into this particular one.
Wow.
So we took the time when we found this home before we made the offer on it to understand what the seller's motivation is, right? By asking probing questions of the real estate agent on the other side, the who, what, when, and where, as you started this segment or our show here. And I found out through asking the questions that the seller had recently family had some cancer issues. Well, this particular doctor's coming to help the same cancer. It was an ovarian doing a fellowship. And we wrote that in the letter. And we beat out a substantial cash offer because there was this relational connection. So I tell people all the time, my wife and I are not in the house selling business. We're not in the house buying business. We're not in the property buying business. We're not in the commercial development business. We're not in any of those business. We're in a relationship business. Our business is to build relationships with people, period. If it turns into a transaction, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. We just build relationships. So I think at a high level, my greatest hope for this show is to create more relationships with people.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that's what's going to happen.
And one of our best relationships is the one that we established. So.
Absolutely. Well, we have a good dynamic, and I think one of the things that's going to happen with
I wouldn't
the show,
go that far.
We have a good dynamic, okay? And now where you're not going to go that far as if I said I had a good dynamic with Yonna, and then that's when you would bring in the haymakers out over there, Keith Smith, because you're protected with that pretty lady over there.
Yeah, you wouldn't be walking out of this building.
I wouldn't be walking, Keith Smith. And that's why I said it
I got
to
a
you,
pen
my friend.
I got a pen in my pocket.
And you could probably kill me 18 different ways with that pen in your pocket, couldn't you? Maybe 19.
I just hug you and give you a big kiss on the
Maybe
lips.
20 different ways. I love it. And one of the things that I think you highlight, you're involved with so many different organizations, and you're on the front lines in so many different ways, whether it's Fluvanna, whether it's the Regional Housing Partnership, what you did in D.C. We need to highlight what you did in D.C. earlier this week.
Sure, thank you.
One of the things I'd really like to talk about is something we've talked about off air, and it's the public transportation piece in Central Virginia.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a bit of shout out to Diantha, who's an Albemarle County Board of Supervisors, and hopefully I'll have lunch
McNeil.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll have some lunch with her next week. But that's one of the subject. She's very passionate about that, and so am I. Somehow or another, and we talked a little bit about this, and we'll kind of rally back to the national cohort I'm on. But we have to factor in this component into the healthy housing system. That's the reason I use that term of healthy housing system, because it's just not one item. And actually, I had a very interesting conversation this morning on my walk, my wife and I's walk. Val Palamountain, who's the dean of the workforce at Piedmont Community College, actually is living in one of the houses I built, is my next door neighbor. And we had a conversation, and she reminded me, please don't forget to continue this discussion about workforce employment. This whole conversation has to be this whole holistic, big picture conversation on it. But I am going to ask something here of you.
Sure.
So I have to give a very passionate shout out to my wife.
Yes.
And if you can turn this into a scissor reel, it'll probably get me a little bit out of trouble that I'm in this morning.
Okay, you got it. Well, you closed the deal.
I know.
Is it not going to get you out of trouble here?
Yeah. Well, you got. Yeah. So
here we go, Judah.
So if it wasn't for her, for you,
say her name.
If it wasn't for my beautiful wife, Yonna Smith, I would not be sitting here talking to you, because she absolutely allows me to be who I am. And, I'm forever indebted to her that she allows me to be Keith Smith, as all that as I can be sometimes, and a box of chocolates.
You're very dynamic.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd go that way, but that would. I just need that so I can send her that, so I can maybe get out a bit of hot water. So.
I totally get it.
Thank you.
My wife is watching right now. We got some props. Make sure you cut that. That's a good one right there. Cindy Van Cooper. I moved to Charlottesville from San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
The Yes Team Realtors helped me with the long-distance house hunting process. They really know what they're doing and made what could have been a very stressful process play out like an absolute dream.
So this goes.
She's watching.
Oh, yeah, Cindy. Hey, Cindy. So this goes back to we build relationships, and her and her husband are just outstanding people, and her two little children are just, you want to hug them and eat them up. But it's all about helping people achieve their goals and objectives, and I like to think we're really good at it. Sometimes you have to tell people what they don't want to hear. Sometimes they have to hear the hard stuff. Not that Cindy was in that position at all. It was an absolute charm.
You could say that.
I've
said worse.
Yeah, I know.
It's a dynamic word.
Yeah, well, I'm from Brooklyn, so
I know.
Sometimes that gets away from me.
Unlike the radio or television, there are no rules at I Love CVille.
That's a scary thing.
I know, that is so scary, especially with people like me and you.
Oh, no kidding! Wow. Yeah. So, but in any event, so it's all about listening, right? And it's all about trying to hear what the client wants and achieve it. And sometimes you have to tell the client, "I hear you, I understand what you're saying, but I think that might be an unachievable goal. How about this?" So we come from the business world, right? So if we own multiple companies, I used to tell people all the time, if you have a problem or a concern, when you bring it to me, bring two solutions. Just don't bring me a problem, right? So, if we hit a brick wall with a client, we will give them multiple solutions. Say, okay, we hit a brick wall. Here's solution A, B, and C. Let's talk about each one. And what do you think is the best one for you? And then we move on from there.
I love it. We're getting props about our haircuts. We both have fresh haircuts right now, and you guys are looking sharp. Your haircut does look good. I feel like you spend more on your haircut than mine. That looks like a $50 haircut to me.
So I don't know if my daughters are watching. They're probably actually working.
Okay. Oh, it's your daughter gave it to you.
No.
No.
Well,
what she's in? No, she's in makeup. What's it? A stylist? Is that what the word?
So my oldest daughter, Yasmina, is a makeup artist. In New York City. So she does
big time people.
Oh yeah,
much bigger than us.
What do they call that?
Stars?
No, A-list.
A-list people. Keith Smith, A-list?
Yeah, I think we're negative, like Z or something like
we're
that.
We're Z-list. Thank you, Keith Smith, for telling that to everybody that's watching right now. We're Z-list.
So it's funny you should say about that. I was at this thing up in D.C. for this cohort, and we were doing a bunch of, Google Hangouts, Skype conversations with people all over the country. and I happen to sit next to the camera, and I notice with the camera on the top of my head, I'm getting a little thin on top.
Oh, you're not.
Oh, I am.
You're looking astute.
Well, thank you.
I want to hear. Lauren says I want to hear about the Brooklyn days, the delis, the breads, the parties, the drinks.
Well,
come on, there's no rules here. I want to hear about the Brooklyn days too.
Yeah. So.
And the accent still comes out.
Yeah. No. It's. I left the city or Brooklyn when I was maybe 18, 19 years old. Really have never lived there again. When I was attached to the U.S. Marine Corps, I was overseas for half a decade, never came home. Married a beautiful Austrian woman, got out of the Corps in 86, came here in 87. And I still can't lose this accent. I mean, I literally just lived there 18 years, and I can't get rid of it, so.
You gonna tell us about the Brooklyn days?
I'm trying.
I feel like you're sidestepping it, and I'm holding you on that question.
I'm really trying to sidestep.
What was Keith Smith like in his late teens and early 20s when he didn't have a compass or a North Star like a Yonna Smith?
So how about them Mets, huh?
Come on now. What were you like without a compass and a North Star? Because I can tell you what I was like.
Yeah. So I come from a large family. I'm the oldest of 5.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yep. My father, grandfather, and great-grandfather are all New York City firemen. So we lived in a very small house, a home. God, I think it was like 900 square feet or something like that. 1 bath. The old joke. We were poor and we didn't know it. We were poor and we knew it. But we come from a service family. The neighborhood I grew in, your dad was a cop or a fireman, or my dad was a cop or a fireman, or they were in sanitation. They were all civil servants, service oriented. So I'm the oldest of 5. My sister next under me is 2, and then there's this huge jump. We call them the 3 M's: Megan, Matt, and Michael. So just to put it in perspective, when I left the house at 18, my little brother Michael was 3 months old.
Get out.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then I believe Matthew was 2 and Megan was 4. And then my sister, I won't tell you how old I am because then you'll figure out how old my sister is, and she's probably watching.
She's going to give you some grief.
She'll come and beat my butt. but she's 2 years younger than I am. So we were always, in this service-oriented family and taking care of people and stuff like that. So, though I was allowed to be a kid, I was always responsible for somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to answer this question.
I see that. And what I want is the...
That's episode 32.
Okay, all right. We're going to save that.
Let's
move on. Is that the rated R content for the club days? All right, we'll save that for episode 2.
Oh, yeah. So what you need to do is get me to tell you the stories I did when I was overseas.
No, what I need to do is instead of having water in that cup, I need to have some gin in that cup.
You lied to me. You told me it was gin.
If I had some gin in that cup, then I would be getting Keith Smith in his service days.
Yeah. Okay. Next subject.
Okay. Next subject. All right. We have filled 42 minutes. It's felt like 4.5 minutes.
Thank you, buddy.
No, we're not over yet. I want to throw this to you here. We got a lot of folks watching right now. Let everybody know one more time what they can expect from Real Talk with Keith Smith as we move forward, as the show matures, as we dot the I's and cross the T's.
Yeah, so I encourage everybody to be a little patient with us. We're learning this as we go along. I do want to make it abundantly clear it's the Yes Team. It's just not me.
Right.
It's the 2 of us. We are one and the same. We're inseparable. So ultimately, what we want to do is bring good information. Today was more like an introductory,
sure.
But what we're going to look to do in future shows is provide information, credit scores, how to keep your credit score clean, different topics related to buying or selling. But then, like I said, we're going to bring in some experts. Hopefully Neil will agree, and we'll talk about it and build relationships. And that's just trying to make this region, Charlottesville, Albemarle, Fluvanna, Nelson, and Greene County, and Louisa, just a better place to be in. And, the quote, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, let's go out there and be excellent to one another, right? And that's it, brother. That's that simple.
First one in the can.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
First one in the can. It flew by.
Thank
Literally
you.
felt like 5 minutes. If we can go to the studio cam, will you put your feet down so we can see these socks? I mean, the dude is looking sharp from top to bottom. He's got the pocket square in. I mean, he's got a flossing shirt. Where's that shirt from? Is that BR? Is that Banana Republic?
You know,
Come on, tell me where
I
that
am
shirt
not
is.
gonna
I
give-
rarely don't look like the best on the set, and today I don't look like the best on the set. Those socks are on point, dude.
thank you.
You showing those socks there, Harris Tolber? Here, yeah, you know, all right. Oh my gosh, we got the sock cam coming right now. We're adapting on the fly.
Are we done? I got work to do.
No. I want to get the sock cam. Tell me when the sock cam is on, Judah. Can we get the sock cam? Is it on? We're showing his socks right now?
I got to take a phone call.
No, you do not have to take a phone call. Guys, we're going to have fun on Real Talk with Keith Smith and Yonna Smith. It's powered by the Yes Team Realtors. It's powered by Roy Wheeler. It airs on the I Love CVille Network on Fridays at 10:15 to 11 a.m. This was episode 1. Each show that goes by, this concept will mature. We'll get more sophisticated. We'll get more refined, like a fine wine, if you may.
Sure. I'll take wine instead of gin. I'm good with that.
I think I'm going to give you the gin.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to hit quicker, and then you're really going to be sharing some stuff that you should not share. But that's for episode 2 or 3. You crushed it today.
Thank you, brother. So just a quick little comment on that. So one of the things, and I skipped my memory on it, we're going to, in our feeds, we're going to attach a bunch of good information like, you know, infographics and stuff like that for folks to take a look at.
And you're going to send it to us on Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Instead of
Friday morning
at 5:30 in the morning.
And then I called Judah and Harris, and they're like, "Why are you calling me at this time? I'm not even awake." Well, Keith Smith.
They let me in the building,
they
so
let you in the building. That's okay. We got it done. Do what you got to do.
Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure. Real Talk. Keith Smith, Yonna Smith. Fridays, 10:15 on the I Love CVille Network. My name is Jerry Miller. It's an utter pleasure connecting with you on this platform. We will see you with the I Love CVille show, and frankly. Harris is going to kill me right now. 83 minutes we have to get ready for a talk show, the I Love CVille show. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Friday at 10:15 with Real Talk.
Thank you.
Excellent work.
There you go, brother. Thank you.
Solid. So we're going to get your photo. Judah, let's get the pic. We need to leverage some content for his intro. We need to get his